Join our challenge using our freebies and instructions to create a fun journal page. Welcome, it's Barbara from Vienna, Austria. After Louise Heinzel, Rhonda Winstead, and I posted our 5 items digital challenge videos the past 2 weeks, we decided we also need to make a video using our own freebie. If you don't know what I'm referring to, you can find a playlist of our challenge below in which we used each other's freebies along with a set of instructions. It has been so much fun seeing all your posts on Instagram joining us in this challenge, and it's not too late to participate. We would love it if you would tag all 3 of us if you post something on Instagram or even a video on YouTube. So I started looking at my own freebie yesterday with the intention of making a video. And I sat here for about 2 hours pulling out supplies to play with, and I became so overwhelmed that I just put everything down and decided to sleep over it. So hopefully I will manage this today. So when I put this freebie together, I actually chose more generic items thinking it would be easy, and I did not realize how difficult this challenge would actually be. Let me read you the instructions that I put together. Use a large piece of lace in combination with real lace, fabric, and a button. So that's this piece. Add paint blobs to the envelope. That would be this piece. Use the butterfly in combination with a clock. If you don't have one, make one. Add the butterfly clock image into the envelope so it peeks through the windows. And finally, use the metal closure as a functional piece to close something. So I've already inked up all the pieces with walnut stain just to save some time. I've also already bent these flaps in for my envelope. And I'm going to work in the beautiful journal that Honey made for me. Honey is Honey Loves Paper on Instagram. I will link her Instagram for you, as well as a video with a flip through of this beauty. I decided to take this one because the pages in this one are a little bit bigger, which gives me a little bit more space to work on. And I think I'm going to choose a blank page. Like, for example, this gray one I think would work. So the first thing I want to do is make the background have a little bit more interest and make it a little bit more sturdy at the same time, because this packaging paper is not very robust. So I'm going to take my box of scraps and just glue down some scraps to start out with. Next, I am of course going to add a thin layer of gesso. I'm just using this scrapey tool. Something like a credit card would work as well, preferably an old one. Or of course a spatula or anything. Paintbrush. So while this dries, we can work on some of the other elements. I want this envelope to flip up, so that means I'm not going to glue it on the 3 sides. So I'm going to cut off these 2 and just leave the bottom one. Next, the instructions say we need to pair this with a clock. I have a whole bunch of clocks, which is why I came up with the rule in the first place. And also because, of course, this metal piece looks like it could be a hand of a clock. These are all parts of a poster that I had bought locally. And I just cut all the clocks out thinking I could use them in my projects. I bought this at least 2 years ago, so I haven't been very good about using these. I've used some, but definitely not as much as I could have. And then I saw this one which says when you have the time. And I really like this one for this journaling page because It reminds me of making time for your journaling and not just to do your journaling when you have the time. You have to make it a priority or you're not going to do it. So I think the first thing I want to do is to cross this out. So it's not when you have time, when you make the time. That is a super important aspect of journaling because I think anything we just do when we have the time is not going to be a regular thing because we'll always find other things that are more important. So that's kind of going to be the theme of my page. Now, obviously, I don't want to put this butterfly right over it. So I need to kind of put it somehow differently, maybe like next to each other like this. So this butterfly we are supposed to have peeking out of these. And rather than just putting it underneath the envelope, I kind of want it peeking through these windows. So maybe like just the wing being under the envelope and the rest is peeking out, and then the watch could go somewhere like this. And then I thought maybe I could add some more of those clocks onto the background later on once that is dry. We'll have a look at that. And since this is going to flip down, I of course don't want the back side to be white. I have this tissue sewing pattern laying on my desk from another project. And I thought, why don't I add this and just cover the whole inside with that? That would have been great to do before I cut the holes out, but oh well. I will hopefully manage to cut those out again. And I can already see that I'm adding new things to what I had in my mind yesterday. I always see that these projects take a life of their own. This is the reason why I find it really hard, and probably that's why I was overwhelmed trying to plan this spread, because things just look different when you've actually done them from what you've had in your mind before you actually started the project. So I don't really like planning. I really like kind of just doing things one step at a time, baby steps. You've probably heard me say that many times if you watch my videos, but that's just what works for me. I just can't plan. And I'm going to adhere this with Art Podge, which is fairly matte. Also great for adhering napkins. And I was just going to cut these out with my craft knife, but actually I really like it and I really like the sound. So I will keep it in because apparently it's not glued down so much on the edges, so I can still stick my butterfly in like this. So I'm just gonna leave that because that's fun, even though you can't really see through it. But the instructions don't say that you need to be able to see through it, so that's cool. I need to ink up this clock, and while I do that, I can think of my next step. Inking is always a great procrastination tip. Since I see this metal arrow here, I'm thinking, why not put a real metal arrow there? My instructions don't say that you can't use other parts of your craft supplies. So use whatever you want as long as you use the 5 items in the freebie. So I have 2 different sizes, the smaller and the bigger one. The smaller is too small. The bigger one is actually perfect. I could attach that with a small brad through the butterfly. But I think what I need to do first for both of these items is to put cardstock behind them to make them more sturdy, because these are quite flimsy. I could not be bothered to cut out this inside here, so I just cut the whole thing off. Then I need to mark where I need to punch my hole for my metal arrow. And I'll use my small hole. Oh, nope, I'm not, because it doesn't go in all the way. Okay, never mind that. I'm going to take my awl. Or actually, I have this thing here on my desk. I can just use that. But before I attach that, I might want to add something else to that. Because with my metal gears, I also saw that I have these cute clocks in metal. Wouldn't it be cute to have one of these maybe dangling down from this arrow, from the brad? I think I'll take the smallest one, which is this one. I'm going to use a black embroidery thread to attach this. So I ended up putting it through the hole on the bottom here, tying it with a double knot back here, and then gluing and taping over the ends to secure those. And then we can cover that with the arrow, like that. Okay. I think I still want to add some stenciling on this back side because that is still kind of boring. I have this Tim Holtz gear stencil. I think this will go pretty well with our clock theme. And I'm using my walnut stain. Okay, I feel like I'm ready to glue these items down. I'm just gluing half of the butterfly down. I don't want it to be so flat. I still need to add the paint splatters or blobs on the envelope. I don't know yet how I'm going to do that, so I will leave that for now. So this metal closure needs to be a functional piece. And what I have in mind is to glue it down here. And then this piece can be like a piece that goes into something. For example, I was thinking of putting this underneath, and then we put something here that it could tuck into. But this is again too flimsy, so I will adhere that to some more cardstock. Okay, so that's much better to work with now. So that would go up there. And then I want to add this piece on top of this piece, and I want to put some real lace in between. And I just happen to have exactly the same lace that is on this printable because that's what I used when I made this piece. That's kind of an unfair advantage, I know. But it doesn't matter what you use. I just want to rough this up a little bit. So I'll just glue that down. Okay, and then we'll glue this on top. And then I found this piece of fabric in my stash, which I think will go well with this green we have in this watch. So I'm going to just tear a piece from that we can use to insert this in. So I have this little strip here now, and I want to just attach it on two sides. So that will then be like this. And this will be like this for that to go into. I have no idea if this is going to function well. We'll just try it and see what happens. So I've added my fabric, I've added my lace, and I also need to add a button. And I have a short list of buttons. That's a bit big, I would say. So I think all the big ones can go. This is a gorgeous color, but I'm not sure it works well with the green. I would have loved this one. There is a brown one. That one would work, might be just a little bit too big, like the colors though. The blue, nope. A white one. That would definitely work. Let's keep that one in mind. And there's a little brown one. That would also work because I have quite a bit of the brown here. And there's a green one. No, I don't like that. So it's the white or the brown. The white doesn't really pull your attention. The brown does. No, I think I like the white one better. I'll put some thread through it, and maybe I'll put, should I put black thread through because we have the black thread here? Yeah, why not? I'll just put black thread through it and then glue it on the fabric. I'm going to put a tiny piece of baking paper in the middle where the button is going to go underneath the fabric so that the fabric doesn't stick to the paper underneath while it's drying. So here's my button. I've just made a double knot on the back and added some glue. So next I'm going to adhere the 1/2 of the closure. And for the paint blobs, I'm going to use my Forest Moss Distress ink and spritz that with water. And then we'll let that drip onto our envelope. And then I'm going to soak up some of this liquid again because I don't need these spots to be super pigmented. And this way they will dry faster, of course. The rest I will dry with my heat gun. So that ink bled a little, but actually I think it looks pretty cool with those yellow edges. Did not know that was going to happen. In the meantime, our gesso has dried and we can think about the placement of our items. I think I want this envelope down here so that the watch dangles out from underneath. So it looks out of the journal. So that then determines where this piece goes. So this piece has to go here. And now we need to think about what else we need to put on this page. So as I mentioned, I wanted to add some of the clocks. So I have 2 more here, which I think will look really nice in combination with this green. So now we just need to figure out how we can place these. And this one, maybe up here. Let's see what it looked like if the envelope is flipped up. That's not bad. And then another thing I found was this TikTok that was also on that poster. I could try cutting those 2 words out and then see what that would look like. It's almost a bit massive, isn't it? Because it pulls your eye right there, which is okay, but this shouldn't be the main focus of the page. I'm wondering if it would change anything if I would cut out these letters. Maybe they won't look as massive then, so I'll give that a try. So what do we think? I think it's still kind of too much. I could, of course, stamp TikTok smaller and then put it somewhere. Without anything up here, of course, it's very empty. So I think what I'll do is put some more of these kind of splatters with my Forest Moss on top here, and of course also need to ink up these 2 clocks. So I'll glue everything into position first. That way I know where the splatters can go, and that way maybe I'll add some splatters to these items as well. And by the way, I've inked up the back side here as well, of course, because we're going to see that. For some more interest on the background, I'm going to add some of my beautiful vintage number stamps. I did get these off Instagram over a year ago. These are mostly from an apple orchard. I got them from Alison Noel. I will link her Instagram below. If you follow her Instagram account, you will see when she has sales, and she has pretty cool stuff from estate sales and flea markets and everything. So definitely worth checking out. I'm going to use permanent ink because I'm pretty sure I'm going to add some splatters afterwards and I don't want this to smear. Okay, now I can add more splatters with my Forest Moss. Let's add a bit more. So this is what it looks like when it's dry. Nice and grungy. Then I want to add some shading to make everything come out a little bit more from the page. I will use my carbon sketch pencil in soft. And I will use my paper blending stump to just blend those lines out. You could also do this with water. Actually, I think I will add water afterwards to blend it even further. I'm taking a wide water brush for this because these lines are of course very harsh at the moment. I just want to soften that. Through the camera, the lines definitely look more harsh than they are in real. They could have been a little more subtle. Maybe if I would do this again, I would use maybe a brown instead of a black. But it's okay. I'm just gonna leave it as it is. In the meantime, I've also added some journaling here to document this challenge. And now let us see if this closure actually works. Because that would be a bummer now if after all this, it doesn't even work. But it does. It's a functional closure. Yay! And I love having that watch dangle down from the bottom here. Let's check the instructions to make sure I've completed all the challenges. Use the large piece with the lace in combination with real lace, fabric, and a button. So that's this, real lace, fabric, and a button. Check. Add some paint blobs to the envelope. Check. Use the butterfly in combination with a clock. Check. Add the butterfly clock image into the envelope so it peeks through the window. Check. Use the metal closure as a functional piece to close something. Check. This was so interesting that my own freebie was the most challenging for me of all of our 3 freebies. Would not have thought so. I thought mine were actually so easy when I put them together. So there you go. You never know what's gonna happen. Don't forget to check out Rhonda's and Louise's videos linked below to see how they use their own freebies. I am super curious to see that as well. And if you've enjoyed this, maybe you will also enjoy this video right here. Mwah! Mwah!